Hey everybody, it's Libby DeLucian again here with Fearlessness, and I have an amazing guest on today. Her name's Erica. Erica, introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here, Libby. So I am Erica Turner, and I am in Johnson City, Tennessee, and own Green Meadow Cleaning. And we've been doing this since 2013, and it's definitely been a journey.
What made you get into owning your own business, especially in cleaning?
Well, that was an accident. So I'll try to make it as quick as possible. So I was really broke when we moved to Tennessee. So I'm originally from Virginia, the Richmond, Virginia area, and we moved to Tennessee in 2013 after losing my mom from cancer, my father-in-law from cancer. It was like, all the kids had grown up, and it was, let's go get a fresh start and just live a more simple life, and let's do things a little different. And we actually started off mowing lawns as how we started. And I don't know where everybody else is at here in Tennessee that doesn't pay the bills in the wintertime. There's no lawns to mow. So it's too cold and snow. And so we pivoted, and the following year, it was like, we're going to have to do something because we were broke. And in the meantime, I'd had a car repossessed, the whole thing. And so we decided to add cleaning services to that just because that was something that would go on through the winter. And it just took off from there. It was a complete accident, but now we've grown. I think we have 22, 23 employees. Yeah, that's just it. To make money, to sum it up, because I was broke and I needed a paycheck.
Make money. Awesome.
I wanted to live a more simple life, entrepreneurship.
And I'm like, you chose entrepreneurship and cleaning?
I was confused at the time, but it's been amazing. It's great. It's definitely a great journey. It's had its ups and downs, but it's definitely something to be talked about.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you guys don't mow lawns anymore, or do you?
No. We quit doing that probably in about 2022. We actually quit doing that. And when we started growing in the cleaning industry, back in 2020, pandemic happened. We lost all of our clients, all of our residential clients. And we had to pivot, but we had a lot of people that were moving here from other areas, and they were buying houses sight unseen. So the good news,
I'm one of those.
And so many people were doing it. But the good news is the realtors had called on and was like, there's this one company that can go in and they can fix the lawn, because we were doing maintenance and painting at the time too. They can get the house completely ready, cleaned, done. And so that's where we had to shift and completely start over.
Well,
interesting too.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how COVID changed like so many of our businesses. And, I wanted to talk to Erica, and I asked her beforehand about going through the hurricane because it impacted her area. And I thought that the name of the podcast is called Fearlessness. And, when we went through Hurricane Ian, it changed me, it changed my life. I lost great employees because they quit or they lost their houses or their families were struggling. We lost 400 recurring customers, Erica, in one day here in Fort Myers when we got hit with the hurricane. And I was so mad. I was so upset because listen to this. This is how shallow I was, that I wasn't going to hit my goal.
Yeah.
You get frustrated. You're not in the moment. It was a little bit afterwards. And then, Debbie called me, amazing. We talk about Debbie and CBF on here all the time. Debbie called me and she's like, what can I do for you? I'll help you get it back to where it was. And, in that moment, I was like, you know what? No, we were getting a little the wheels were shaking on the bus. It was getting a little too crazy, too chaotic. We were growing very fast. And it was almost like that was supposed to happen for us to kind of reposition and realign what was important to us, focus on our employees and our processes. And she quit on me a couple days after, my original cleaning technician. She was the first cleaner who helped me in the field. I had made her a manager. She was a field manager doing quality checks and customer success. And she quit because she wanted to work in the church and serve her community. And I mean, what do you say to that?
Right.
And she is coming back tomorrow, is her first day back after 2.5 years being gone.
I'm so glad. Well, at least she's coming back. She did what she felt she was called to do, and now she's coming back.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So, but I wanted to get your take. Like I was telling Erica before we came on, I was telling my husband, I said, the hurricane, and I seen it in myself this last hurricane season, turned me into a big ball of mush.
It did me too. I had to actually, after seeing it all over social media for days, I had to turn it off. I had to take a social media break because all I was doing was crying. I was washing dishes. I was crying. I was doing laundry. I was crying. And I personally wasn't affected. Like 20 minutes up the road was, and I wasn't, but my heart just reached out so much to the people in the community. I mean, this is our community. This is a community that supports us and supports our business and our technicians and our goals. And just, I couldn't even imagine what they were going through. I had friends, I had coworkers or former employees that went through a lot. They went through a lot. Their houses were literally floating down the river.
So
the pace of change in the world of business is fast, and that drives incredible complexity for the world of human resources.
Welcome to the HR Data Labs podcast, a series of conversations with experts inside and outside the world of HR on how to innovate, measure, and evolve our practices.
Our goal is to help provide you with practical examples of how HR has to change to meet the complexity of the business environment.
Every week, we'll talk to new and different voices on all aspects of HR.
And at times, we'll get irreverent.
Silly even.
And sometimes geek out on the data and technology that underlie the processes that drive the world of HR.
But the conversations are always insightful and fun. So please, enjoy the HR Data Labs podcast.
I want to talk about, because during these times, I always think to myself, we can just kind of just ignore it or hide or wait until it's over. But I saw you doing some things, and even though you were not directly impacted, like you said, it was your community. So what did you do? One, how did you coach your technicians through this time? Because I'm sure if you were stressed out, they were probably 10 times more stressed out.
Well, they were. So first thing I did is they knew that they had my support. So we actually had a technician who the whole road, the bridges, everything washed away. She couldn't even get out. There was no road. She didn't have power. She didn't have any cell phone service. And after a couple of days, she would get brief, moments of cell phone service, and she would call when she could. For me, the main thing was letting her know, because she was worried. She was like, what about my job? What about that? And I, as a leader, knowing that this is going on, because I have worked in places where they didn't care. They didn't care. I worked at a place 20 years ago, and my best friend at the time worked with me, and she had passed away overnight. It was on New Year's, actually. And I went to work and found out at work, and my manager literally told me, well, I still have a business to run, so you're just going to have to suck it up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I knew that wasn't who I wanted to be, when I had a business. But the main thing was knowing that they had our support. Their job was going to be there. Like, what can we do? We can try. We couldn't get there. We couldn't get there to help her. We couldn't take her anything. But I think just knowing that she had that support for her job was fine. Go through what you need through, just keep that communication open. That was a big thing. It's just, what do you do? Because here in Tennessee, hurricanes are the last thing on our mind.
I was there. So I have a house on the Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina border, and we evacuated from Fort Myers because, again, we get a little like, oh, there's a hurricane coming, a little PTSD sets in. And so we evacuated and went to our house up there. And then my mom and one of my good friends, Teresa Spearoff, right, another CBF member, she's like, Libby, I was sitting at a restaurant eating. She goes, Libby, you need to get out of there now. She goes, it's coming to you. And I'm like, oh, I'm in the mountains. It's fine. Like, it's just going to rain, is what I thought. And luckily, our house sits on the back side of the tallest mountain in the area. It's like Brasstown something. Can't remember, but it's the highest peak in the area. And it literally looked like it went around us because it hit on 20 minutes on either side of our house and 20 minutes north. Like the mountain broke it and it went right around us.
Yeah, that was very fortunate. So what we did, so I'm always big on community. I love the community. Like, anytime I can put together a community event, I'm there for it. So we had actually, I think we had just seen you in San Diego, and because we had taken that cross country trip and we had came back through Montana and Wyoming, and we got home 2 days before that happened. And they were calling for rain, calling for storms, but that was it. That's normal. That's pretty normal. And we got home 2 days before, and that Friday, I still hadn't went back to the office yet because I was still getting myself back together after being gone. And this happened. And like I said, there were houses, there was videos, houses floating down the rivers, like all the dams broke. And it caused pure chaos. People didn't have power. They didn't have a place to charge their phones to be able to get in touch with anybody. Well, our office, which again, it's like 15 minutes from the affected areas, I was like, we have power, we have water, we have all the things. People can come charge their phones. They can come take a break, they use the sink, wash their face, whatever they need to do. And so we advertised that, and we decided we would take donations as well. And so we did that. My husband took a grill, and we got a cooler and filled it up with waters and sodas, and he fixed hot dogs for people that came by. So if they were hungry, because, they didn't have a way to fix anything to eat. So we fixed hot dogs and drinks and had chips and living the community. I've always loved this community ever since I moved here. But I met people. We had people showing up at our office that never knew. I didn't know. How can we help? Like, I'm about to cry talking about it. But they just jumped in, and everybody just wanted to help. And I was like, I have never seen an area place come together like that. People were giving out hugs. They were getting something to drink. They were charging their phones. They were just as thankful. And then we had technicians that came in. This was on a Saturday. They found out we were doing it, and they were loading up their cars and taking it to the, the centers where they give out everything.
Yeah.
We were collecting the donations, and they were taking them to the places where they were, like the shelters and all of that.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing. And I knew from that day on, as much as, like I said, I love the community, but I was like, we're going to start doing more of this. We're going to start doing more, not just when we need to and there's a need. Like, I'm really working on how to spin off a nonprofit where we can constantly do things like that. So if somebody comes to us in need, we're able to help them.
That's great. Man, it'll teach you a lot about like yourself, your technicians, the relationship with your technicians, and also like your customers. We did the same thing that you did with the help of Joanne Bracchia. She brought truckloads of stuff down. We opened our office to the community for clothing and water and supplies and non-perishable foods. And my main concern was first feeding our employees and making sure they were good. And then, then in the community, because that's what I did. I didn't even think of the community as centrally. Then I was like, oh my gosh, one, we have so much stuff, and why not help? And we would just get people that would come by to sit on the bench because they didn't have anywhere to go.
Exactly. Before I ever had this business, I'm gonna squirrel for just a moment. I can remember having young kids at home, and business wasn't even on like my mind. I was living in a single wide trailer, which I would still live in. There's nothing wrong with that. I loved it. But, I just was really broke. Like, that was the life that I had learned. We just didn't have any money. And I can remember at times having to ask my parents, like, can you help me with my electric bill? Can you do this? And I remember one time on the way, after borrowing the money, after my lights had been turned off, going to the electric company, and I told my husband, I said, if I'm ever in a position to randomly pay people's bills, I'm going to do it. Little did I know that so many years later, I can't just randomly pay people's bills, but we can do things to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. You can pay it forward in the biggest or smallest ways. It doesn't really matter how large like the gesture is, as long as you're paying it forward.
Right. Yeah.
Every single year for Christmas and Thanksgiving, actually, we adopt a couple families. Organize It does. And we buy them Thanksgiving dinner, like a kit. We create it. We have our technicians kind of put it together. And then the office staff delivers the dinners to the families that we sponsored. And then during Christmas, we do the same thing, but we buy gifts for the kids and we break our technicians up into groups. And it's completely optional. We give them the gift card to go buy the gifts and actually the list, because the kids say kind of some of the things they want and the ages. And we give our technicians the gift cards to go buy the gifts in groups of like 6 to a group, because sometimes they don't have the ability to experience like what it's like to give back. And shame on me, I didn't do it this year. This year has been just like I didn't do it this year, so I felt so bad. And so we spent last weekend packing meals for the homeless with Meals to Hope. That's what it was. Just my family, because I'm like, oh my gosh, we didn't do it. Like, we've done some restructuring in the office and we completely slipped our minds. And then what else did I do? Oh, so one of my best friends is her wife is a special needs teacher. So we bought the gifts for the class. It was so great, like seeing the pictures and sharing them in our tech chat, because this is what you guys were able to help us do.
Yeah, I love your heart. That's just awesome. And if you give them those things to do, like we'll do different things for different nonprofits in the area, but you're right. They get to feel and see what that feels like. And it makes them a part of something bigger than just working for a business. And our technicians that jump in and help, they love it. They love being able to do that. One of ours that went to the and dropped the supplies off the supply center. There were helicopters out there that day because Western North Carolina had got hit really bad too. And we're very close to that. We're about an hour from them. But when they were at the school dropping off the stuff, the helicopters were out there, and I've got videos of it. And Jalen actually was talking about it today. It meant so much to her, but she was out there running the stuff to the helicopters and helping them load those just to get them. And as awful as a time as it was, she lights up knowing that she was a part of that.
I love it. So, I think there's a few things that you said that I want to touch base on. One is giving back without necessarily people having to ask for it, I think is a great thing, because there's this little thing that we don't think about, and you might remember yourself going through it, or maybe our listeners going through it, maybe when they were younger or they were struggling. But, that random acts of kindness really can light up somebody's day, whether you're buying them a cup of coffee, buying them a meal. You're going to laugh at me. 2 days ago, it was on Saturday, me and Chris are working for the last 2 weeks straight. We're trying to get like a whole bunch of stuff rebuilt, changing stuff. And I was like, hey, I'm going to go to, it's an Italian place, and sit at the bar and just have a glass of wine and just think about some stuff. And there was this gentleman sitting next to me, and he could have just seemed like the random drunk guy, because he was a little had a little bit too much to drink. And, I started talking to him, and he was having a really, really bad day. He just put his dog down, and he was like, that's the only thing I got. It was the last thing in my life. And I told Chris, and so when I left, I gave him a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And he goes, you just made my day. Like, you're the most beautiful, like, you're so pretty. Like, and he's like, you just made my day. Because he's like he was sitting next to his friend, or I think it was his brother. So and he was just so sad about his dog. And I told Chris, I said, you're probably gonna think I'm nuts, but I gave him a hug and a kiss on the cheek. And, I told him to cheer up, that, if there's, tomorrow we'll bring something different. But those random acts of kindness, right? Whether it's buying somebody a coffee or giving them a hug, because if you have to ask for it, whether you have to ask for help to pay your lights or help to buy your groceries, or you need a hug, it actually chips away at one's self-confidence slowly and slowly, especially for men. And this is a weird topic. I've done a lot of reading about this. And so if you're if they're a male and they ask, it's just something away that males are genetically kind of built. And the more often they have to ask, the less and less confidence than they have in themselves.
You're 100% right. My dad was that way. My husband was that way. He's not going to ask for any help. We were trying to, I had to get a new washer last week. My washer quit working on Christmas Eve. Yay. And he just had surgery about a month ago, but he had hernia surgery. And I'm trying to help him, get the washer up the stairs. And I'm like, I could call the neighbor. They would probably come help you. We got it. I'm like, okay, you're killing my back now too, but we got it. But asking for help is going to be the last resort from them.
The random acts of kindness kind of help give that little ego boost to those people who may be down and you
It
don't
does.
even know it.
You are exactly right. This was a long time ago, before I had a business, before I was more grown up. I was just a little immature, but I was having a bad morning, and I went into a gas station to get me a cup of coffee, and I was grouchy and I was mad. I guess the cashier saw that I was getting grouchy, and I went to pay for my coffee, and they just smiled, and they were like, "Coffee's on me today. Have a good day." And it instantly changed my mood. I didn't want anything for free, but I was like, I needed that just little glimmer of hope for the day.
Yeah, that's true. I love it. And I told Chris, I said, after I hugged the guy, I said, I hope you didn't get jealous that I hugged a stranger. He's like, no, he needed a hug. He felt bad for him. But I could have just completely dismissed him as some drunk guy who you never know what anybody's going through.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah. I actually preach that. I use that several times a week. Even when sometimes we'll get clients that aren't, happy. Right. And I tell them, you never know what they're going through. We had that happen one time. One of the office staff had actually called a client, and the client answered and was grouchy and said whatever they said. And when the office member got off the phone and was like, well, she was just being a bleep. And I said, well, maybe she's going through something. You never know what somebody's going through. Well, a couple days later, that client actually called back. Her husband had a stroke, and she was sitting in the hospital, and he ended up passing away. And I was like, well, she didn't have to answer the phone at that point, but maybe she needed a distraction at that time, or needed to just, say something. But we didn't know she was going through that. She was having a bad day. It wasn't us.
Yeah. So I love this topic. So, point is, everybody keep paying it forward, whether it's a hug to a stranger at the bar, or, helping your community and getting involved. I want to move on to another topic. And you said it in talking. This is why there's no structure to the podcast. We go every different direction depending on things that you say. And you said a road trip. So I would like to learn what you learned about yourself and your marriage during a road trip. She went from Tennessee to California and back.
Yep. And then back through Montana and Wyoming.
You went that far up and then to come back.
32 days, I think. 34 days. I don't know. 6,000 some miles.
What did it teach you?
Oh my goodness. Let's start with the funny stuff first. Well, first of all, it taught me that I need a camper. Going in and out of hotels, they need better cleaners. They need people that know how to clean.
So I've this idea of creating a business, and somebody goes around and travels and does testing of go to the airport, go to a restaurant, and then you sell them cleaning, and then you find a local cleaner to sub it out to.
That would be a good business plan. So, but yeah, so I learned that. But fun fact about me is I am a homebody. I don't like to go anywhere, and I don't like to be in a car.
So why did you choose to go on a road trip?
So we had the CBF retreat coming up. That was in San Diego. During that time, I had a friend of mine ask me if we wanted to go on vacation with them to Montana. So my husband, in his infinite wisdom, said, well, let's just do a cross-country trip. That's been on his bucket list. And at first I was like, nope, I'm flying. We can fly to San Diego, then we can fly to Montana. Anyway, after months of wearing me down, I gave in. I said, what the heck, I'll try it. I was mortified at the thought of being gone for 30 days. But I did it. And what I learned is I'm not as bad in the car as I thought I was. That'd be the first thing. I learned how to, we went 30 days with not hardly one single argument in the car, which was a feat in itself because I'm like to be home. And it's not that we argue, it's that I get really stressed out. Mm-hmm. I learned how to deal with that stress better. I learned that I didn't have to do hair and makeup every day because there was absolutely no need. Actually, now you're going to laugh at me. While we were in Yellowstone, there was this rock, pretty good size rock. And I have issues with my knees and stuff, and I don't exercise as much as I should, which I'm going to start working on that. But I had walked so much during that trip that I started feeling so much better. And I got to this rock, and I climbed onto that rock. And I stood on that rock and I thought, as crazy as this sounds, it was actually a confidence booster for me. It was like, I can do this. I can apply these things. I can be connected with nature. I don't have to be in the house. I can take time for me. And so as far as John and I, we used to have a lot of great conversations. We got to talk a lot about business, and it was so much easier because we weren't in it.
Yeah.
We
I
weren't
love
in
road
it.
trips.
Well, I'm getting ready to take another one, so we'll see about that. But not for that long. I can't be gone that long. But I don't know. It was, I could go on and on about that, Libby, because it was such a deep connection with myself and just getting out of my comfort zone, which I really, really needed. Because you mentioned, confidence and the acts of kindness, like building that, helping build that confidence. I needed that to build that. I have struggled so long with confidence and the fear of being judged and imposter syndrome and things like that, that taking that trip actually told me I can do those things. And I will make excuses to not do those things. And I did it. And I'm so proud of myself for it.
That's great. And
It was
I
an
think
interesting experience.
we a lot of us struggle with confidence or imposter syndrome, but like a lot of people don't know the other person's story,
Yeah.
like where they came from, how they grew up, the adversity that they were faced with. I mean, I was a poor little Mexican Indian girl that grew up in an RV. I didn't even have a bedroom when I was a kid. Everyone's dream, they had goals. One of mine was to mow a lawn. I didn't actually mow a lawn because I didn't have a lawn to mow until I was like 35 years old, 32, can't remember. And I told my husband, I said, this is going to sound so bizarre, but like, I want to go buy a lawnmower because I want to mow, when we bought our house, like mow a lawn. Meanwhile, while he was a kid growing up in a house, that was his chore, was to mow the lawn.
Well, he didn't want any parts of it.
He didn't want any part of it. It's like, you don't know, other people don't know those stories. And we all suffer with that level of imposter syndrome, confidence in certain things, and exercising that and doing it more often gets us that confidence. The other thing is, I want to know, what did you learn about your business? Because that is a test.
That was a big test. But I learned that they can do it. I learned that, and this actually came from another coach too. It's something I struggled with up until about July, because we were leaving the end of August. I was worse years ago and I'd gotten better, but I was always focused on, did you do this, 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 and this? And I had to make myself focus on not how they got it done, but focus on the result. I have to learn to quit managing the task, manage the result. And that was a game changer. That's been a game changer even since I've been back. And I feel guilty sometimes, like when I'm not there, if I'm not doing more of the things. But it taught me they want to do the things and they want me to stay the heck out of it until I need to get in it. Mm-hmm. And if they need me, they let me know. It was just crazy. I was like, but they did it. They did it, and they did it well.
Yeah, the sad part is, and this is what hurts our ego sometimes, is that they don't need us, and that sometimes they can do it better than us. And then we feel like, oh, you don't need me anymore. Even though that's what we're asking for when it happens. Teresa McConnell's a great one. I saw her, I had her on the other day. She goes, they didn't need me and I didn't know what to do. I'm like, but that's what I wanted.
Yeah, she thinks she made a post or message me about this something. And she was like, how do you get to that level? I mean, it still bothers me. I mean, I was talking about it today. I was like, I feel bad when I'm not there because I want them, I am there to support them if they need me. But they keep reassuring me, if we need you, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
So I asked my office manager today, I'm like, okay, so what do you need me to do anything for you this week? Like, what do you need from me this week? Growing and getting that position feel and having somebody and people that actually want to do it, they enjoy doing it, and me letting go a little bit, that's tough.
Because your job is in this owner bracket over here, right?
Yeah.
You're the CEO, but what's our responsibility? Well, we don't need to do the day-to-day because we've hired the people to do that. And if I need to micromanage you, then why am I paying you to do it? I always have to keep that in my mind. Not to tell them that, to tell myself that. But your job now, you just said what you wanted to do. Your job is, as a CEO, as that owner or visionary, whatever we want to call it, is to build the culture, right? Keep the culture going. It is to build big relationships. right? And that may be through the nonprofit or the work in your community.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I live for. That, and you were talking about, we don't know what people have been through, but I could tell you so many stories about from my childhood on up to about 20 years ago, right? But the growth and having a business, well, one, getting older has helped with that, but having a business has challenged me to change mindset, to grow professionally, but it's also helped me grow personally. And my teams, my employees, they know, like, that's my goal for them too. And I'm always looking for ways, like, I tell them all the time, I don't care if you're here 6 months or you're here 20 years. I always want you to leave here learning something and taking something away to help you be better. And that's always my goal. So yeah, so the culture, yes, and the community and a nonprofit and just helping. So, we get a lot of younger people that come to work for us, right? And I want to teach them those lessons, like teach them those, kind of mentor them as well as provide them a job.
And then the third bucket, there was the culture, big relationships. And the third one is innovation, right? How do I keep ahead? What are the new trends? What are some new, like, how can we adjust our product or our service or our offering, right? We have to be there in those seats because otherwise we start to get stuck, right? You start to plateau because it needs that thinker up there. And then if we're too far in the day-to-day, like you said, the car ride was pretty easy because you weren't in it. You were working on it. And then, our saying at Organize It or through all of our companies is, I don't care how long you are with me for, as long as you left me better than the way I found you.
Exactly. That's it.
And so I'm getting ready to make some big moves with Organize It. We're still working on it with an attorney. But I've been opening locations because I want to offer that to our employees. Like, I want to use the Chick-fil-A model that the first people that can open a location is an employee of Organize It, and only employees of Organize It can spin off other locations. And I'm not worried about them competing or anything. Like, they have to go to another city or place if they want to move, or if they have aspirations. It would be a startup. It would be a way for them to do it. And they already know the trade. So that for us is coming very soon. And I'm excited. I'm still trying to work out kinks of opening too. I epically failed at stuff. I wasted a lot of money. I figured it out. I tried to do it the hard way first. And then I had to just go back to the drawing board. And that's a whole nother story.
That is exciting though.
I'm excited for it.
You're just one of my biggest inspirations, right?
Well, thank you. I try.
That's why I'm on y'all's lives on Saturdays. That's why I have Woot Recruit. That's why I have all the things.
You have all the things.
I'm a fan. I'm a super fan.
So I love that. And, I love our community. So if you're a cleaning business owner or somebody who's interested in opening a cleaning business, you should, for our listeners, we met through CBF, which is Debbie Sardone's community. So we always put Cleaning Business Fundamentals in the show notes. So if you're interested, I highly recommend it. I'm still a member. So is Erica. I've been in for 6 years now.
I'm going on 4 years. Maybe it'll be 4.
Yeah. 6 years, long time. And I'm a coach for Debbie as well. So 4 years as a coach. But okay, Erica. Well, before we wrap up, any big exciting things that you're working on that you want to share? Anything you want our listeners to know or your community that you might have in the works?
I wasn't prepared for that. Let's see. What do I have in the works?
Well, you said you're going on another road trip.
Well, yeah, I am doing that. Well, we're going to the software that we use is having a training.
Yeah.
In Charleston.
Yeah, so Made Central.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I could say the name of it on here.
Oh yeah, I'm friends with everybody. I love everybody.
I know you really are. You have lots of super fans.
Yeah, so Woot Recruit actually integrates with Made Central.
Okay. We'll probably need to have a side conversation about that.
Yep.
But we're in CBF, we have the pro event in Clearwater the following week. So, in our infinite wisdom, which isn't as far as a cross country trip,
all the way around.
Florida's not that far, but so we're going to drive to Charleston, spend a few days there, and then we're going to drive to Clearwater, spend some time there.
Yeah.
So if your office is in between there and Clearwater, I'd love to come visit.
It's not. It's like 2.5. If traffic is bad, 3 or 4 hours south.
Got it. But I do know.
I went to Charleston last year for Tom had piggybacked the Made Central off of ISSA residential.
Okay.
And so I got to see Tom's office. It's a nice office. You're gonna love all his TV screens on the wall.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I've had Made Central for about a year now, but I just now going to one of the events.
Awesome. They put on great events. I love the focus that they have on numbers.
Yes. So funny story, because I know we're getting close on time. When we first started our business, my husband had a notebook, just, like this little spiral notebook here. And he wrote everything down, every payment we got, everything we spent, it was almost like a check register. And numbers was the last thing on my mind. I knew we had money coming in. I didn't know how much. I didn't know nothing. I didn't take care of it. But now I'm so geeked out over numbers. I'm constantly looking at the revenue production planning and, we can do this or we can move this. Yeah. It's wild how the further along you go into having a business, the more involved you get in it, the more you want to learn about it.
Well, I just had this conversation with my sister-in-law. She was upset because she didn't know something, right? She's like, but how am I supposed to know all these things? I'm trying to build a business. And I told her, I said, wait a minute, you're not supposed to know this yet. You don't have enough room in your brain to know everything. And that's what I want a lot of our listeners, young entrepreneurs, to understand. You're not supposed to know it. You're supposed to make the mistake. You're supposed to have to learn it. That's the suck and the hard that we all have to get through to get to the other side. If there was a cheat code, we'd all be billionaires, right? But there's not. You can't know everything. It won't fit in here. And also, you have to make that mistake. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't believe it.
Even after all these years, I still make mistakes.
Every day. I do.
Still learning something new every single day. So, forever learning process.
It is. And that's why I think we're obsessed with it. It's like Michael Jordan trying to master basketball. It's mastery. Mastery actually means you're chasing something that's actually impossible.
Yeah. And
right?
yeah, so definitely.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. It was it delayed there for a minute. But no, so yeah, if someone is listening that's new to business and see, that was part of my issue when I first started my business, or when it developed into a business, because I didn't intentionally mean to start it. It was well, I need to know all this stuff. And every night and every day I was researching. My brain was so full. I didn't know if I was coming or going. And then once I learned to just step back and to make these mistakes, I tell my employees, you're going to learn better when you make the mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. You just try not to learn it all in a day. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I love that. And lastly, all you guys are coming to Florida and it's going to be cold as, holy macaroni. The weekend that you guys are all coming to Tampa, it's 20 degrees forecasted.
My goodness. So that's not what we're supposed to come to Florida for. We're not supposed to come for cold weather.
I know, but I saw the report and I told Chris, I'm like, these people coming in for the CBF Pro Trip are going to be mad because it is going to be cold as sin. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how cold it's going to be. It's not normal for here at all.
We went to Daytona. It was about 2017. I think it was 2017. We went to Bike Week
I've been there. I used to have a Harley.
Yeah. And so we went to Bike Week. And of course, we're leaving here. We're going to Daytona. I had never seen so many people looking for gloves and hats and coats in stores, because it was freezing. And it was the last 2 days we were there, it finally got hot. But it was I don't even want to ride this motorcycle. I don't want to. And trying to find gloves in Florida, at least then, was almost it didn't exist.
It's impossible. Oh, one last question. We're talking about motorcycles. I used to have a Harley. I used to be a biker chick. I had my own, though. I wouldn't ride on the back of nobody's. Oh, and you're in Tennessee, right? Dragon's Tail.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a great place.
Yeah, we've done that. Is it Tail of the Dragon?
Tail of the Dragon. That's what it is. I said it backwards.
It's okay. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, we've been out there before, but honestly, I've gotten to where I don't even want to ride no more. There's so many motorcycle accidents out here.
Yeah.
I don't even.
You can't ride a motorcycle in South Florida.
It's gotten so dangerous. But yeah, the Tail of the Dragon, I think that's up past Knoxville or something. It's not too far.
Yeah. Love it. All right, Erica, we're going to wrap up. This was a great conversation. I loved learning about your past, how the hurricane changed you, what you did for your technicians, the community. But I think I loved the story more of how a road trip really changed you.
Yeah,
And
I
who would
could
have
go
thought?
a lot deeper about that. It was just incredible. I learned a lot about myself.
So I did a road trip, but I had my kids and my dogs. I learned, don't take your kids or your dogs.
I had a dog sitter.
So, all right, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. It was great talking to you. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us to get updates when we release a new episode each week.